make your cover, the more dynamic and powerful it's going to be. So the tip is, don't load up your cover with a lot of stuff that only you or somebody who's already read the book would know what the heck it's even about, because they haven't read the book yet. And number
Excellent.
five,
and, you know,
I can
several people love your, yeah, Joel, several people have said they love your one-star review for marketing intelligence. Great idea.
Yeah, well, here's the second half of that. I wasn't going to give this away, but the word love just tripped me up there. You know, if you copy out key phrases from those one-star reviews, you will find they make excellent marketing copy. You just turn them around. So if somebody says this book would have been much more complete with a list of resources, you turn it around and say this book is complete because it has a whole list of resources. You use the same language that the reviewers are using, only you turn it to the positive. So that's tip 6. All right, so tip 5 is consider repurposing your book into more formats, I think is what I've said. And what I meant by that was not, you know, everybody knows, I mean, you should do your book as a print book and an e-book. Most books will profit from that, maybe not all of them. But what I meant by formats was there are a lot of ways you can use the material that you slaved over and developed when you put this book together. For instance, you can excerpt parts of it and create smaller books that introduce people to key concepts in your work. Some of those make great giveaways or 99-cent like little soldiers to promote you. You can also convert them into audios very easily, which you can either sell or give away. And if you're a nonfiction how-to writer, seriously think about turning your book into some kind of training program or even a lecture series. I mean, the book makes the perfect vehicle for doing that. And most nonfiction authors would have a much more robust career if they learned how to master some of these formats that appeal to their particular readers. So that's what I mean by consider repurposing your book into more formats.
Excellent. All fabulous tips. All right, next up, we have the amazing, awesome, outrageous, funny, sharp, and we all know she's really smart, Amy Collins. Amy has tons of industry tips and executable advice. She has been a book buyer for a chain of bookstores as well as sales director for a large book and magazine publisher. For the last 10 years, she's run one of the fastest growing book sales and marketing companies in North America, New Shelves Books. All right, Amy, you are up, and here is number 1.
I love how you read all those nice things I wrote about myself like you came up with them. That's wonderful.
And everyone, by the way, should do that for yourselves.
My 5 new tips after the 5 that we did last month all kind of center around different ideas around the book industry outside of the bookstore market. Number 1 is, and this is not a surprise to people who have been doing ebook marketing for a while, but an ebook discount strategy is not just dropping the price of your book to 99 cents for 3 weeks and hoping it catches fire. You need an actual strategy. You need to discount your book 48 hours, maybe 3 days at most, but 48 hours is key. It's 2 days, and you do nothing for those 2 days but promote the 99-cent ebook. If you don't know where to promote your ebook, all you need to do is go to Google and type 99-cent ebook promotion or 99-cent ebook. You will see, I'm not exaggerating, hundreds of sites that have members who sit and wait for these 99-cent ebooks to be announced. Don't do it for 3 weeks. Don't do it and not promote it. Drop the price of your ebook to 99 cents and really ride that puppy like it was a horse. I mean, do nothing but hold on to that and start promoting your book. Social media is great, but if you don't have a big platform, make sure you spend all of your time on other people's platforms telling them about your book. And number 2 is to get your ebook listed at the right wholesalers. Library and library budgets are going up every year. Library traffic has more than doubled 3 times in the last 2 years. According to the American Library Journal, there is an almost 40% increase in library budgets for ebooks. And libraries with 500,000 members or more, meaning libraries in any major city, Cincinnati or bigger, 500,000 or more members is key. Their budgets are over $4.1 million on average per year. And if their ebook budgets are going up, you want a part of that. Your ebook can be sold into these libraries, but only if they're in the right wholesalers. The two wholesalers, there's a half a dozen of them, and we can get into that in detail, and we will on the cruise ship in January. But the two you need to hear about today is Overdrive and Access 360. Access 360 is owned by Baker and Taylor. Overdrive is arguably the largest library ebook wholesaler. They will, if they accept you, they will license your books to libraries for either a period of time or for a certain amount of downloads, and then they need to be relicensed. Access 360 is not as big as Overdrive, but they're adding almost 2,500 libraries every year. You need to be in on both of those. It's hard to get into Overdrive. It's a little easier to get into Access 360. But if ebooks are part of your market, then learn about how libraries work and make sure that you go to these two wholesalers minimum.
Excellent.
Number 3 is to focus on specialty gift and retail shops for a 90-day period. Just like I said that your ebook strategy, discount strategy is not, spraying and praying, neither is your gift and retail strategy. We talked a little bit about this, Judith, on the last call about focusing for 90 days, but we didn't talk about gift stores and non-bookstore retailers. Focus it around a tourist season. Focus, if you've got a fantastic fiction or a fantastic novel, then go where the beaches are. Focus on the New Jersey shore or on the Maine shore or the state parks along the Northeast during the summer months for 90 days and make that focus between April and July, because they're too busy to talk to you in June, July, and August. You need to get a hold of them while they're setting up for their big tourist season. Then shift down to the Outer Banks for their September through November. Go to Florida for January through March. Go out to California, April, especially Northern California and the Pacific Northwest, April, May, June, perfect time. But find tourist areas and focus for 90 days on a specific geographic area. The deeper you focus in a geographic area, the better success you'll have. And after 90 days, move on to another tourist season. My fourth hint is that you should be focusing online, but when you focus online, for the love of all that's holy, please do not focus just on Amazon. In 1992, if I had spent all my time and energy focusing on Borders and Barnes & Noble and ignoring Amazon, I would have been in big trouble. 1996, Amazon had a little bit of lift, but Borders was all over the world. Look where Borders is now. Look where Amazon is now. And you don't know where the next big rush is going to be, but I promise you, you will not be a part of it if you only hitch your wagon to the big star right now. Keep an eye on the online retailers out there. IndieBound. Do not neglect IndieBound. Go to booksamillion.com. What if booksamillion.com becomes the next Amazon and you've ignored them for the last 5 years? Make sure you're paying attention to Chapters Indico. Make sure that you stay on top of barnesandnoble.com. Why would Barnes & Noble brick and mortar stores stop you if you're spending all your time and energy focusing and telling people to go to Amazon.com? Stay broad. Whereas before I was telling you to focus for brick and mortar, when it comes to online, the secret is to scan the horizon. Constantly be making your book available at any website you can. And finally, number 5.
Oops, uh-oh.
Number 5, I highly recommend that you hire Kelly Johnson. That's my note. Number 5, if you're going to focus on bookstores, if you're going to ignore my first 4 tips, which is to focus on ebooks and libraries and specialty gift shops, and if you're going to focus on bookstores, keep in mind what has recently come out of the Pew Foundation, some of the data that's been driven from the Book Industry Study Group and the Pew Foundation, is that 40% of fiction novels are sold on the West Coast. 40% of fiction is being sold on the West Coast. That's not even Arizona. That's California, pretty much. 40%. And that 32% of the books being sold in this country are being sold to baby boomers. So, if you have a limited budget, if you have a limited amount of time, and bookstores are where you want to focus, if you have a nonfiction book, you want to go after the boomers. If you have a fiction book, you want to head west. And those are my tips for today.
Excellent. All of them excellent. And I hope everyone paid close attention to number 2, which dealt with your library ahas, which are huge.
And we're going to go into that in detail at Author U, Judith, and on the cruise. But this library thing for ebooks is the future, and I want to give your members as much information as possible.
Excellent. All right. Next up is the amazing, which was the faux tip number 5 from Amy, which is Kelly Johnson. And Kelly Johns is a specialist in working with authors as a VA, a virtual assistant. She runs and is a principal of Cornerstone VA. She's what I call my favorite geek girl. When I get in trouble, Kelly is the first person I go to when I can't figure out something and need a quick fix. Kelly is full of a variety of ahas as well as sites that will make your website soar, that will make your marketing soar, that will just make you as an author soar. And with that, Kelly, I'm going to let you jump right in. You can find her at cornerstoneva.com. And here she is, the first one.
Oh, and thank you so much, Judith. I appreciate that. As you can see, the first section, I broke this down into 5 different areas of some sites that I wanted to share with you that I thought would be helpful. And as you can see up on the screen, there's 3 research sites that I wanted to convey tonight. The first one is CEO Express, and what I love about this, I consider it almost like a one-stop shopping for different research. It has all different links where it breaks it down by categories such as online television news, where under there you can click to go to ABC, the BBC, Fox, C-SPAN, CNN. You can go to news feeds such as AP Wire, Google News. It has tech magazine and news, lifestyle magazines, and it lists all different links under those different sections under this CEO Express. So it makes it very easy to go to this one website and see the variety of different topics and be able to have the links right there that you can click and go to for research on your books, or if you want to look up different pieces of information, just very helpful. The next one is What Is, and this one I put in because if some of you who feel you're not as tech savvy or as up to date on some of the technology, this What Is site helps you to find a definition for a variety of technology terms. So if you're encountering a different tech term that you're not familiar with, this is a great site. And Library Spot is also just another resource where it gives you some different libraries online. It has some different list availability, such as best companies to work for, and some must-see sites that they recommend that you should check out. So the next section is travel apps, and I have a couple of different options under here. There's actually 3. And for travel apps, I thought this would be great if you're a fiction writer and you want to, have your character using different apps on their phone as you're, writing in the storyline, or for all the authors as you're traveling to your speaking engagements and conferences. I thought these would be helpful tools. So Gate Guru is the first one. It's basically, where is your gate? If you're trying to locate it when you're getting to the airport, it gives you real-time flight status. It gives you a map of the entire airport, and it also notifies you of flight or gate changes. The AirGrub, I know we all get really excited about food on the airplane, but what AirGrub does is basically you can avoid the lines at the restaurants that are in the airport. You can go ahead and pick a restaurant. You can prepay for your food and schedule the time that you'll go and pick up your meal at that restaurant in the airport. And then the last one is TripIt, and what this does, it creates a detailed itinerary. So everything from your car rental to restaurant confirmations to your hotel to your airline ticket, on TripIt puts it all together into one detailed itinerary. And the other thing I like about TripIt is it lets you know when you're eligible for a flight refund. So we all like getting money back.
You know, Kelly,
So the first,
I'd love to add on the TripAdvisor. If you all are not using that and you're booking your flights, this is Judith, that you want to go on TripAdvisor, and because it'll show you what are the best seats on a plane and which ones to stay away from. And I found that invaluable, especially when I've had to travel overseas.
absolutely. Thank you. That's another great one to add.
All
The
right.
next section is there's two sites I wanted to let you know about for audio and video file conversion. What tends to happen, I know, for a lot of people is you may hire someone to create and record a video for you or an audio recording, and they give it to you in a particular format. So, for example, the audio might be an MP3, or the video might be sent to you in a file format such as FLV. And sometimes when you need to upload it to YouTube or you need to get it on a particular site, that file format that you were given, your audio or video recording, may not be what's accepted on a site you need to upload it to. Well, these two sites here, the Audio Online Convert and there's a Video Online Convert, for free, you can go ahead and bring up these. So for audio, you go to that first one, audioonlineconvert.com. You select what format you want to convert your file into. Go ahead and upload it to this site, and it will go ahead and convert the file, and you can download it, and it doesn't cost a thing. So you can do that for audio and video.
Excellent.
The fourth tip that I have is what's called a tone analyzer. And what I like about this is it lets you, with the written word of what you've written out, it actually helps you type it into the field that it shows up when you go to this website, and it helps you detect the emotional tones, the social propensities, and writing styles that you have. And what it does is once you type that into the field, it will go ahead and analyze those different areas, and then it will offer some suggestions to help the writer improve what your intended language tone is. So once again, this is a great way, it's a free tool to just check, what is the tone? How is my written communication coming across? So whether you're, once again, wanting to write as your character, if you're a fiction writer, as an author in nonfiction, if you want to get a sense of what your tone is coming across as, this is another great way to be able to have a free tool that lets you analyze that. The last section that I wanted to go through, it's some miscellaneous fun sites, because I know we all work really hard and we need to sometimes have a little fun with some of these sites, but you can also use them in your marketing and in your writing purposes as well. But the first one that's up here is called cartoonize.net, and I had a great time playing around with this. You can take any headshot or image that you have, upload it, and it allows you to pick different types of cartoonizing, so to speak. Yes, that's a very official vocabulary term. It lets you just apply some cartoon techniques and effects to like your headshot or to an image that you want to have. So it's just a fun way that if you want to, spice up a blog post or add something a little different to your headshot and make it look a little bit more with some cartoon effects on your social media, you can do that with that site. The next one is called dabuttonfactory.com. And I know a lot of times on our websites, especially if we're using WordPress, there tends to be the option where there might be just a default button that you can click on, like Pay Now or Add to Cart. Sometimes we get those as well from our PayPal accounts. But the Button Factory lets you actually customize. You can type in the wording you want in a button. You can change the color. You can change the shape. So it just lets you, for free, create a little bit more of a customized button on your website. The What Should I Read Next? I love this because you can type in the title of a book or author into the field, and it will give you some suggestions based on either the title of that book and what theme it is or that author, and it will give you other suggested authors and books that you might want to check out. So you can see if any of you as an author, if you type your name in there, who also is a match of other authors that come up. And then very quickly, OnRead is just another site to get some different books, topics, and areas for some genres. Rules of Thumb, I thought this was another great site. These are user-submitted rules of thumb that the whole community, you can go and rate how useful you think these rules of thumb are. So for example, getting rid of back pain. Someone will put up a suggestion about how to get rid of back pain, and you as a user on the site can just vote if you feel that that suggestion is helpful or useful. So this can just once again be a fun way to find maybe some helpful rules of thumb that you think are either helpful or might be a little humorous. You can write blog posts about those. You can see for your character in your book as you're writing if some of those might be applicable and might be a nice twist to be able to have some additional content or angles to write about.
All right, all excellent sites, and that's Kelly on the cruise we're going to be doing coming up is going to be doing all kinds of variations and doing some deep diving actually into some of our favorite sites that will make your marketing, your setup, your everything you do for authoring and publishing just a huge difference, and you will be above the clouds. Well, before we take a quick break here, so don't go away because Joan and I are going to be talking about the Publishing at Sea cruise that all of us are going to be on January 24th through the 31st next year, and we actually sold out our entire first round. We went in and got a few more cabins that are available just for till the 10th or until they're gone of this month, and then we are sold out totally, and it's going to involve Cozumel in Mexico. We'll be in Haiti for a day and Jamaica for a day, and there's a huge amount of pluses of why do a working vacation cruise, one being it is tax deductible, and the other one being is so where else do you want to be in January? But that the Royal Caribbean, it will be our host ship, the beautiful, beautiful Allure of the Seas. We were all on it last year, and I think the ship almost rated as high as our exceptional workshops. What do you think? You know, Amy and Joan, you were there.
The thing that blew me away, Judith, this is Joan, was at dinner, the waiters who took our orders at dinner, I don't remember them writing anything down. They just sort of remember everything from memory, and we have the same waiters night after night, and they treated us like royalty on this ship. I can't remember how many staff they have for the number of passengers, but I was just blown away the first year. This will be my third cruise on Royal Caribbean, and they're just absolutely fabulous. There's staff people everywhere to help you with anything you need.
There are actually 2,000 staff people to support us, and we have our own room that we will be meeting in the same room all the time during the time. What I love about it is that we will be, when we board on the 24th. On the 25th, we're cruising, so that means we have workshops. And we start at 8:30 in the morning and go to noon. We don't want to work you to death, so we let you go off and play for 3 hours in the sun, and then we want to see you back from 3 to 5, and then you're off for an hour, and we rendezvous again at dinner time. And we do eat dinner as a group. We can change tables and all that, but we really do schmooze, and it's not all publishing we talk about over dinner, by the way, because I know several people who are coming or bringing spouses with them, and that because we're so eclectic in what we do, I think the only full-time people in publishing are your 5 faculty members, Amy and Joan and Joel and Kelly and myself. So we can talk about a variety of things, and we love the amount of networking that allows during the dinner time. So just a few areas that looking at the workshops. They're highly interactive, and we have a great time. We learn a lot. You can see that you dress casual. Bathing suits are allowed if you want to, but you should be wearing flip-flops. It would be a good idea.
I have to say, Judith, that one of the things that struck me the most on the cruise was how hard we laughed at dinner. I mean, yes, there's always a good time, and I mean, my favorite part of the cruise, and I hate to circle around food, but my favorite part of the cruise was first thing in the morning before I left my cabin, I would order room service, which was totally included in the price, every morning, and I would sit on my balcony and look at the ocean, and I adored that. And then at dinner at night when we're all together, and you know, some of us have been out in the sun and some of us took naps or whatever. We kind of come together after a while and just, we laughed our heads off. I loved it.
I agree. I mean, there's nothing that cures the ills besides getting out of a snow-encrusted state, if that's where you might live, is laughing. And the food actually was quite exceptional. I remember over lunch that Amy and Joan and I had lunch, and it was actually the best filet of sole I've ever had in my life over at lunch at one of the specialty restaurants. So we gather, we only have workshops when we are cruising. When we are in ports, you are off and expected to go play. And we'll rendezvous if you choose to come join us for dinner again that night, but that you play. So if you, whether you come by yourself or you bring someone with you, or both of you who come in the cabin are both attending, that there is really plenty of downtime to relax and enjoy really an exceptional working vacation. So we're in Cozumel. If you've never visited the Mayan ruins, this would be a time to do it. It is a long journey, I will tell you. It'll take up your whole day. You'll leave very early. You'll get back for dinner, basically. And that it is something that is on my list. I haven't done it yet because rumors are floating around that they are going to be reducing the access from tourism significantly because of just the wear and tear on them. But Cozumel is on your journey. And there is Haiti, and you can see one of the Royal Caribbean ships. But if you want to test out a chance here at ziplining, this is a place that you can do it. You might as well just go all the way across that bay and check it out. The beaches are beautiful. There is a very exclusive resort area, and that a lot of the shopping, there was a lot of non-junk, which I appreciated last time I visited. So Haiti is something that you might like to enjoy. And I should also say to all of you, you may choose, I've been on so many cruises that I actually know a lot of these places quite well. Sometimes I love it so much when people go off ship, I stay on because I get the ship. And also, here's secret sauce here, is that the deals in the salons, like if you want a massage and a rock hot massage, it'll be significantly reduced in price when you're in port, because there's no one there and they'd like to have someone come and do it. So that's kind of a secret to know about. And then Jamaica is gorgeous. The beaches are sensational. If you going up the falls, walking up the falls is something that really is a treasure to do. That is one of the tours that you could choose to do if you're on shoreline, and that if you're into baskets or any kind of weavings, they're exquisite, I can tell you, in Jamaica with that. So those are where we're going to be getting off ship if you choose to. Otherwise, that you can, stay on. This is just a few of the people that were with us. Over the last couple of years, we grabbed some quick shots, and everyone really had a good time. And what's fun is people, we always have people who return again and again. So that's lovely. But we had a wonderful, wonderful time this go-around. So I guess what we should really say is, why should you do this? One, it's tax deductible because it's education. Number two, you have exclusive workshops just on the cruise days. Number three, when you're in port, you get to go play. We'll meet again at dinner. And by the way, after dinner, you cannot believe the array of things that you can do on ship. Mamma Mia will be the in-house, and this is the professional, not the Royal Caribbean dancers as they call them, but this is where they have actually the professional Mamma Mia show will be in there. The comedy shows are a hoot, and you do not want to miss them. If you love jazz, there is anything that you can imagine. And yes, they have bingo. There is bingo, and that's in the morning. So there is, you will have something called the compass that's delivered to your cabin. each evening, and it tells you everything that's going to be happening the next day. And I will tell you that if you've ever visited, for example, a retirement community, a ship has, they have nothing on what a ship offers. If you want to play, if you want to learn, if there's education, or if you just want to just slum it, you can do it all. And of course, there is 24-hour eating. As Amy said, there is room service around the clock if you so choose it. And I should say that all food is included with your, in the dining rooms, is included with your cruise package. All gratuities are prepaid. All taxes are prepaid, as well as your workshop cost. If you choose to go to ticketed items like offshore, if you choose to drink alcohol, you get to pay for that. If you're a soda drinker, you will pay for that, and it's always wise to get the pre-bought for those things if you like sodas. And lastly, if you choose to go to the specialty restaurants, and they have several that are excellent on board, those are extra. But the cost of a dinner in some of the specialty restaurants, you would easily pay $100 per person. You might pay $25. So it's really up to you. Secret tip, if you want to test them out, do it at lunchtime. The cost is roughly half price. So I will recommend that to you. All right, next up, you get to brainstorm with the faculty and participants. So don't be shy. You can just pull us aside and say, I have a question, or I'm trying to figure out this, and you will get fabulous quick coaching that we can help you with. And as I said earlier, I really can't. I live in Colorado. I know Joan lives in Wisconsin. Joel's in California. I guess Joel can have decent weather in California. Amy's in New York, and Kelly is in Colorado. So Joel might get the sun. The rest of us can hardly wait to leave town in January. So you might be joining us. And I will say that post the cruise, you have the opportunity for 30 minutes with each of us speakers via phone or Skype. It's something that we always offer. We will keep you to 30. If you want to go over 30, I'm going to tell you you're going to get your credit card out and pay for the extra time. But you get 30 minutes with each of us post the cruise, and that is well worth it. So come along, play with us, go to the Publishing at Sea website and register. You can also email me directly, Judith at Briles, BRILES.com, and just say, I'm in, call me so we can talk about it. So if you have any questions, that's where you can contact me. There's my phone number, 885-2207, area code 303. The deadline to register is September 10th. September 10th, that is next week. And what you need is $500 deposit per person. The balance will be due in November on the 10th, no later. So $500 now, the balance on the 10th. So, and the cost is really, it's $16.95 or $19.95 a person, and if there's two of you, you double that. If there is one of you, it is a fraction of that. I'll come back to that before the end, but I think that I've talked enough. Joan or Amy, do you want to add anything on?
Just a couple of quick tips. This is Joan. One of the other things, Judith, that's worth mentioning is when they had, I believe it was the last shore excursion, we had somebody in our group who actually took the tour of the ship.
Yes.
You can tour the ship, and Amy was talking about how great it is to sit around and laugh at dinner. And one night we sat there, and they regaled us because she and her husband went on the tour, and they regaled us by telling us about how the inner workings of the ship actually work, and they told us about the $1 million washing machine, to wash all these towels and tablecloths. And I thought that what she was explaining was fascinating. So one of the things I'm going to do in January is I'm going to take this tour.
The other tour that you might want to consider is that if you really want to know what goes up in the captains and all the navigating that's going on, there is a special tour. Very small group is allowed to do that. So if you have any interest, you need to sign up for that pronto. So just a FYI, all of you. All right, Joan, let's jump into the fabulous Publicity Hound. And Joan Stewart is known by many. I know that you might follow her on the Publicity Hound blog, but she works with authors just like you who want to use free publicity to promote their expertise, attract super fans, get speaking engagements, become the go-to sources for the media, and sell more books. If you subscribe to her twice-a-week free email tips on publicity and book marketing at publicityhound.com, you will be ahead of the pack. Joan, what's your first tip?
Okay, if you want to click on it, you want to, this is for publicity purposes, you want to tie your press releases, pitches, and marketing copy to breaking news stories. And the best one that I can think of is Ashley Madison. Within the next couple of weeks, hey, I don't know about you guys, I read everything I could get my hands on. Ashley Madison, I thought the story was absolutely just incredible. And you might be thinking, well, you know, what are some ways to do that? So let me give you a couple of ideas. If you're an author, and let's say you write about the topic of forgiveness, what a great opportunity to tie in. What if you write about espionage? What if you're a fiction writer and you write about the world of spying and espionage? How about tying into Edward Snowden and all of the problems he has gotten into? What if you are a speech coach and you write about the art of public speaking and how people can become better speakers? If you're not writing and tying into Donald Trump, you're absolutely crazy. Now, I will say, I don't care if you like Trump or don't like Trump. He is in the news right now, and from everything I'm seeing, if he starts to slip in the polls, it's not going to be in the near future. So jump on this while it's hot, okay? These are all great stories to tie into. And if you're saying, well, how in the world would you write a press release about Ashley Madison? You know, how would you tie that into a fiction book? Let me give you an example, because I wrote one for you. And again, this is a fictional example, and it's all off the top of my head. This is how a press release for a romance fiction author might sound like. This is the first paragraph. Clayton Randolph can teach the 32 million people who were outed during the Ashley Madison hack a thing or two about having an affair but never getting caught. For more than 20 years, the bad boy stockbroker juggled 3 mistresses, but his wife had her own dirty little secret that would shatter his world. I'd keep reading. So that's an example of how you tie in your topic to something in the news. And just, go with it. And even if you're not sure if it's a good enough tie-in, just try it. You might be very surprised. And again, remember, people are Googling these names. They're Googling Ashley Madison hack. They are Googling, Hillary Clinton email problems. And if you're a computer expert and you're an expert in computer hardware, I've been waiting for somebody to jump on it and nobody has. What's a server? What does it mean to wipe clean a server? I don't think a lot of people understand exactly what that means. And if you write about it, if you're an expert, it's a great opportunity to tie in. Okay, tip number 2. Fiction authors. This is sort of for nonfiction, but mostly for fiction, because you guys struggle with this. In your press releases and marketing copy, talk about your character development, your storylines, your plot, the locale where your story takes place, why you wrote it, and tie in a little bit about your personal life too, to connect your personal life to your fiction. I'm involved in a project right now on writing press releases, and I found a fabulous one that is a perfect example of what this is about. And the press release is about Mara Pearl. She is an actress and an award-winning women's fiction novelist, and I was reading a press release for her, and I want to read just a couple paragraphs to you to show you the things that she talks about in her release and how fascinating it is. It gives you sort of a glimpse into how she writes. And so here is the first paragraph. She says, "My writing is romantic, which is why several of my awards are in the romance category, but my stories don't follow a strict set of rules of a classic romance novel. My concept of romance is a good deal more complex, and the romance storylines have thrilling and satisfying conclusions by the end of the pentalogy. What, where, why, who, and when? The 5 questions of the heart are asked in each of the book titles and are answered." And then she says, this is from a press release, "Pearl says her story takes the reader through an expanded trip through her home territory. Quote, I've never written about my home city of Los Angeles," Pearl admitted. "My readers get an in-depth look at the LA of the 1990s as my protagonist travels from the Palos Verdes lighthouse to Hollywood, then winds her way through the Angeles Crest Mountains out to the Mojave Desert." And I don't see a lot of writing like that in marketing copy for fiction. So give people, you gotta tell them what your story is about and touch their emotional hot buttons like she did in what I just read to you. Talk about your storylines. Don't just think you can write a story and throw it out there for the world to read. You need to tempt them and tell them why they should read it, and tell them what emotional hot buttons that work of fiction is going to hit. Okay, tip number 3. Target gift guides for publicity. And these would be gift guides for Christmas, Mother's Day, Father's Day, graduation day. These gift guides are published by both online and print magazines. Many bloggers now put together their own gift guides, and websites have their own gift guides. Your book is an ideal gift for somebody. So don't only think Christmas, think these other days. Just for the heck of it, for purposes of this webinar, I went online before we started, and I searched for, because I thought this would be pretty obscure, gift guides for hunters, okay, because I live in Wisconsin. We're a big hunting state. Deer hunting is huge here. I found 6 hunting guides for hunters and outdoorsmen in 30 seconds. Now, there are gift guide databases out there that cost mega dollars. I recommend you don't spend your hard-earned money on these gift guide databases, unless you got a lot of money to spend. I would much rather see you finding these through the Google search engine. I found Outdoor Life magazine. They did a post on 30 gift ideas for outdoorsmen. I found a website called Cool Hunting that had a gift guide for hunters. Field and Stream magazine has a blog post called The Sportsman's Wish List, 24 Great Holiday Gifts for Hunters. I found one from Game and Fish magazine. The National Rifle Association has its own magazine called American Hunter. They have a holiday gift guide for every year. I also found one. If hunting isn't narrow enough, how about the Turkey Hunter's Holiday Gift Guide for turkey hunters? So if you write about turkey hunting, there's a gift guide out there. So here's what you want to do. You want to find the contact information on the site, and sometimes they will say, how to submit your product. You want to write a good press release about your book. Focus on the problem the book solves. Don't focus on the fact that you wrote the book. Focus on the problem it solves or the emotional journey that you're going to take people on if you happen to be a fiction writer. And you can put your press release right in the body of the email, and you do not want to send it as an attachment. And that's pretty much it. And you also want to be able to link from the press release to both a high resolution and a low resolution photo of your book cover, which will be at your website. And because I've had magazine editors tell me for their new product sections, they get so many press releases, but people don't send pictures. They don't send photos. So they can't use them. So you want to be sure that you link to them at your website. Okay.
So Joan, I have a question about the linking, because one of the questions is that I have is that a lot of times they don't want to open things if there's live links because of all the virus-related problems. So would it be better to say to send them to the website without the live link, or am I?
No, no, because you have to really make their job drop dead easy to get their hands on it. Links are seldom a problem in email. If they know that you're pitching a book for a gift guide, they're probably going to be pretty sure you're not going to be, spamming them or, trying to hack into their site or sending a virus or anything. I think it's perfectly safe to put links within the body of an email. Whatever you do not just send them to your website and leave it up to them to hunt for your photos, because they just won't take the time to do it.
Excellent. Okay, number 4.
Okay, number 4. This is September, and within the next couple of months, many of the big magazines and small magazines and industry and niche magazines will be releasing their 2016 editorial calendars. Editorial calendars they're like a chart, and they are created for the benefit of advertisers. So advertisers know, for example, that in the month of May, Better Homes and Gardens is going to be doing an outdoor entertaining special section. Okay, so if you had an ad for patio furniture, you can save your money for the month of May. I don't want you spending money on ads. I want you pitching stories that go into these special sections. And the only way that you're going to know the special sections exist is to get your hands on a copy of the editorial calendar. Unfortunately, newspapers and magazines sometimes make it very difficult to find these. Go to the website of the magazine or the publication you want to get into and look for something that says advertising opportunities or editorial calendars, or just do a Google search for it and see what comes up. And if you can't find it, call the magazine and ask them how to get your hands on the online editorial calendar. And it will be a month-by-month breakdown of all of the special sections and the special topics that they're going to be featuring within every month of next year. Now remember, if you want to get into big magazines, many of them have very long lead times and very early deadlines. So it's going to be very important for you to find out what the editorial deadline is for getting into the May special section on outdoor entertaining, if, let's say, you've written a book on patio furniture or whatever. Okay? These editorial calendars are great for spotting publicity opportunities.
Well, that sounds excellent. All right, and number 5.
Okay, number 5. Too many author blogs are more potent than sleeping pills. They are, trust me. If I can't get to sleep at night, I'll just go try to find an author blog, and it'll put me to sleep in about 5 minutes. One of the big reasons is so many authors don't bother putting photos or images inside their blog posts. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't want to see any cheesy stock photos. You know what a cheesy stock photo looks like. They're all over the internet. One of the best tools that I have found, and I bet you Kelly agrees with me, for making wonderful images is Canva, CANVA.com. Just think canvas, like artist canvas, and they have a free tutorial there. If you go to canva.com, there's a little button up on top that says Design Studio or Design Course. I think that's what it is. Design School. And they have these wonderful videos that show you how to use Canva. Canva's a free site. The only time you pay is when you buy one of their cheesy stock photos, and a lot of their stock photos are really cheesy. But you don't have to do stock photos. Let me give you an example of 3 Canva graphics that I did. Now I'm going to tell you right off the bat, and those of you who follow me know this about me, you know that I'm not a techie, okay, and you know that I don't have an artistic bone in my body. I created each of these graphics that you see here on Canva just by, it's all drag and drop. They give you a blank canvas and you drag and drop stuff right on this canvas, and then you decide what color it wants to be. You decide the font. The one in the middle of the 2 people in the TV studio, that was a cheesy stock photo that I already had on my hard drive, so I didn't have to pay for it. I just uploaded it to Canva. You can use Canva to come up with great headers for your Facebook pages, for Twitter backgrounds. You can use it for posters. You can use it for marketing copy. It is very cool. I am in love with Canva, and all of these 3 here that you see were all done free. And another little tip, when you use it, do you see on the middle one and on the one on the right how I sort of sign my name on the bottom right-hand corner, publicityhound.com? These images are really shareable, and you want people to be able to get back to your website if they're fascinated by what they see on the image.
That's a really important tip, Joan, to all of you. It's part of your branding and bringing it back. And if you've got words that are really valuable, of course you want people to come find you that have, whether they've retweeted it, whether they've shared it on Facebook, whether they've shot it out in a group. You never know where it's going. And your blogs.
Right.
Okay. Excellent, excellent tips. All right, and then last but not least, I will pop up. I'm Judith Briles, and I'm known as the Book Shepherd, and I'm also known as a blunt, butt-kicking, but I like to have fun with my clients and what we do. I love to deliver practical book publishing and marketing strategies for authors, and I would sure encourage you to come over to thebookshepherd.com and subscribe to my blog that gives free tips every Saturday for publishing and book marketing, as well as my regular blog that pops out on Tuesdays. My first tips is about URLs. And I've got a sample here. I want everyone to really learn about the shortening of them. If you're pushing out blogs, whether with some of the social media management supports like Hootsuite and Buffer, that they have their own shorteners on there. But some people still put huge ones in there. And if you look at, there's my most recent book, The Crowdfunding Guide for Authors and Writers, and that is the Amazon URL for that page. So if I will take it and then use bit.ly, the bit.ly is a common one, or tiny URL, it reduces to a little bit shorter, where we have amazon.to/17C508K, but I want you to start customizing things, and both bit.ly, bit.ly, or tiny URL will allow you to do that. This is on bit.ly, and I did it for my recent book launch last week, so it's bit.ly/the crowdfund guide. So people will know, oh, this is for that book. So think about doing that for your links, and especially instead of these long ones that no one is ever going to remember, or even the shorteners still are full of numbers and upper and lower case that are not easily memorized. So that's my first tip, shorten your URL. Secondly, images that a lot of people, go to all the free photo sharing, but a lot of people also forget about Wikipedia. And they have a photo sharing portion on the site. It's literally a non-exhaustive list of all the major photo sharing websites. So all you need to go to is the website here, which is the http://en.wikipedia.org wiki list of photos sharing websites. So take advantage of that. Then we have titles. That one of my favorite new sites to play with is called Portent, PORTENT.com. And that where I've always played around with Tweak Your Biz for fun article titles, blog titles, anything, but I never would have thought of why Darth Vader avoids assisted living for one of our clients who has a book for elder care. Joan, I wouldn't have thought of that. Would you have?
No.
But it catches my eye. And that's what a title needs to do at times. So play around with Portent. It's irreverent, and you can have a lot of fun with it. And ahas, different variations. It's just, it's free, click away. So enjoy that one. And then that one of the things that Kelly and I just played around with is the whole thing of creating your own newspaper. And what I love about this is that once you use paper.li, it becomes an absolutely no-brainer. And you can create a daily, you can create a weekly, you can do a monthly, you can do a bi-weekly, whatever you want to do. And once you get your profile in and you do your fine-tuning with your keywords, keyword phrases, that it will allow you to input up to 25 blogs, Twitter feeds, Facebook pages, etc. Joan and Joel probably don't know that they are curated every day in my newspaper, and that I follow their tweets and their blogs. So whatever they're popping up, that will pop up that goes out to my followers. So it is a no-brainer. You can bring it over onto your website. And it shows, you're non-stagnant, you've got your new action, your new daily, your weekly is popping up. And it's just something that I would recommend that you play with once you get it there. You also have the capability of blocking or blacklisting certain names or people that in the publishing industry, there's what I call the publishing predators. And I was mortified to find that one day there was an article posted by someone who is at the top of my hit list. So they are blacklisted and all their children that they have. So that's something you can think about. And then lastly, I think it's absolutely important for all of us to go back and revisit our profiles on all our social media and make sure that we have the right keywords, we've modified our keywords, we know what our competitors' keywords are, that we bring them in, that we use hashtags, and of course, Joan, this is for Joan, that you make sure you get expert in there for the searches. So those are my top 5 comments.
Judith, this is Joan. I am presenting on the ship a workshop on how to become an expert and promote your expertise, even if you're a fiction author. So you'll get a whole hour's worth of how to do
And
that.
by the way, fiction authors don't think of themselves as experts, and indeed they are.
Yes, they are.
You mentioned Mara Pearl. The research that she has done and does ongoing for her books is unbelievable, unbelievable with that. So as we do a quick wrap-up, has anyone been able to access the question bank? Do we have anything out there? Because I don't see it on my organizing panel.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. Somebody asks, shouldn't it be assisted living, not assistant living on the Darth Vader title?
It should have, and when she put it in, she had the misspelling, and I just did the copy-paste on, and you are correct.
Okay, Suzanne says, thanks, Judith, for the plug on elder care books.
There you go, Suzanne.
Okay. This question is for Amy regarding ebook distribution to libraries. Do Overdrive and Access 360 accept submissions from individual self-published authors? What is required to apply?
Yes, they do accept self-published authors. Yes, they will take your book. You can go to overdrive.com or access360.com to find out the criteria. You need to have an EPUB file, EPUB type file. There's a number of programming hoops you have to jump through. It is not simple, but it is not hard. It is, the difference between something that's easy versus something that's simple. It takes quite a few steps, but it's absolutely worth it in the long run. Giving you the entire long list of what's required, I'm afraid, isn't possible here, but if you go to New Shelf,
Tone Analyzer and Cartoonize.net on 2 different computers, and it did not show any warnings. I understand being careful about sites to visit. If you'd like to contact me, I'm happy to send some other options to you. And Kelly can be reached at initial K Johnson at Cornerstone VA, as that's short for virtual assistant, cornerstoneva.com.
and this is Amy. I was so intrigued by what Kelly was saying. I went to Cartoonize and to Tone. I went to those sites as well while she was talking, and I was not blocked either on Microsoft Internet or Google Chrome. Neither of them gave me any warnings.
So what I'm going to say, this is Judith, is that most likely you may have your settings set too high.
That's what I was going to say.
And you may be, there's Kelly, and you may be blocking out a lot of things that you have no idea that should be coming through even to you in your email system.
Yep. Oh, Greg asks a good question about the cruise, Judith. He says, will we have unlimited access to the internet on the boat to be able to explore some of these internet tools?
Hi, Greg.
Talk about that?
Yep. Hi, Greg. And Greg and I had a lovely chat earlier today. Joan, he's one of your followers.
Oh, wonderful. Hi, Greg.
And that what's going on is that, yes, there is internet all the time on the ship, but it's not free. Nothing that is not free. And what you want to do is explore. I'll have some pricing on some of the internet packaging because it's different on each ship. So I'll get what the Allure of the Seas is, because there was I know Amy bought it last year. Amy, do you remember what you paid?
I do. What I did is I bought a unlimited subscription for the whole cruise for 2 devices. So at any given moment, I and my boyfriend could both be on a device using their Wi-Fi. At times, Judith, you remember, I would hang up so that you could log in. As long as it's only 2, they don't care who you share it with. And it was $140 for the entire 8 days.
Yes, and I can tell you that's a bargain, because I had spent one time $140 for 1 day in the old days. So it's reasonable. It's come down. It may be less, but I'll be checking prices as we get closer. Now.
Judith, do you want to tell them about the coffee shop option? Enjoyed this last hour with us, and you feel like you have gotten a lot of great tips. Can you imagine what it's going to be like being with us for a whole week? Can you imagine how smart you're going to be? And can you imagine how many questions you are going to be able to throw our way about whatever the annoying little problems are that you have experienced, the last couple of months? And a lot of times, I get them too, and sometimes I don't have anybody to go to, for my annoying little problems. So I sent Judith an email or Amy an email, or I know Kelly helped me last time on something, and I've sent Joel plenty of emails too. And if I didn't have these guys, I would be lost. And that's one of the reasons I know so much about publishing. And I don't come from a book publishing background, but the reason I know a lot is I hang around with all these guys.
And you do. Before we sign off quickly, let me do two things. One, let me tell you what the pricing is right now. And two, I'd love each of us to run through very quickly and just give a one line on what we're going to be speaking about, because we're all doing a couple of workshops. So Joel, you want to lead off?
Absolutely, Judith. And maybe you can help refresh my memory about what I'm presenting about, because it's probably about book design or blogging.
Yes. Yeah. Well, actually, you're doing both, Joel.
See? So, I don't try to teach people book design in an hour, because that's really not the way it works. But what we're going to be doing is looking at the options you have for getting your book done and done properly. We'll walk through the book design options you have, and people will become much better consumers and publishers because of it.
Yeah.
On the blogging side, that's probably about my favorite topic, Judith, so I'm really looking forward to finding out where people are in their book marketing and blogging pursuits, and how we can help them kind of get to the next level.
And the last thing you were going to touch base was on the build your thinking outside the book.
Yeah, and that's connected to my tip number 5 today, because there are just so many ways to profit from the work that you put into your book. It doesn't have to stay as a book, and I've got some really creative things that we're going to be talking about in that workshop that I think are just going to be pretty amazing.
That's terrific. I know I'm going to be talking about how to pitch yourself in 15 seconds or less. I'll be getting into the game plan in your book marketing game plan, and I'm also going to show you how to make money with your mouth and get paid every time you open it that's connected with your book. And then Amy, what are you going to be doing?
I'm going to focus on 3 different things to start, but it'll be 4 different lessons. I am all about online lately, selling your book more effectively on Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, IndieBound, how to get sales of your books online moving. So many books online, and I know you're saying to yourself, no one can even see my book, no one's buying it. We can change that. I do it every day. We can change that, and there will be a couple of sessions on the cruise teaching you exactly how to do that. Second thing we're going to focus on is retailers outside of the bookstore marketplace. Airport stores, gift stores, hospital gift shops, catalogs, places where people are buying now. There's more books than ever being sold in America, and fewer people are in bookstores. So where are they buying the books from? They're buying them from Walmart. They're buying them from hardware stores and pet stores. We're going to focus on where to get your book and how to do it most effectively. We're going to do a session on libraries. I know I've been talking a lot about libraries lately. It's because that's where the feet are. 58% of Americans have a library card and have been in a library in the last month. Fewer than 5% of Americans have been in a bookstore in the last year. These are verifiable facts. I can show you where I get the numbers from. I'm focused on libraries. And fourth, last but not least, all about the ebooks. Driving sales to ebooks, how to get your numbers up. Right now it's a 30-to-1 ratio. If you look at Kindle, which is the huge granddaddy of sales right now for ebooks, there's a 30-to-1 ratio ebooks to print for fiction and almost 40-to-1 for nonfiction. And I want to help you maximize your ebook sales so that you can get some dollars in your pocket.
Oh, that sounds terrific. And Kelly, what are you going to be focusing on?
some of the areas I'll be focusing on are the gizmos and gadgets, so going a little bit more in-depth with some of the examples I've given on these 2 webinars and showing some demos of other sites and tools that you can use that are free and low cost. And then some of the other areas I'll be focusing on are WordPress and YouTube. So for example, since YouTube is the 2nd largest search engine that people use behind Google, and Google owns YouTube, just giving some tips and techniques of some places to work in keywords and little tips of how to help with your listings on your videos on YouTube. And then most people use WordPress for their websites, and just giving some tips and insight on some ways that you can utilize your WordPress and some things to check.
Great. And Kelly and I had so much fun at my recent event doing gizmos and gadgets for a whole day together. Oh, it was fun. And then Joan, what are you going to focus on?
I will be doing 2 presentations. One is on how to become an expert in your topic. That includes fiction authors. I've got some great tips. And then once you become an expert, how to promote your expertise. Because I'm going to tell you guys, there's an author under every single rock on Earth. There's no shortage of authors on Earth. There's a shortage of experts in many niches and categories. And if you can promote yourself not only as an author, but as an expert, you're going to sell a lot more books, and I'm going to show you how to do it. The second presentation is going to be on how to contact publishers, reviewers, agents, movie producers, readers, bloggers, librarians, bookstore owners, etc., 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 on LinkedIn. If all you're doing is inviting people to connect and accepting their invitations, and you're joining a couple of groups, you are leaving big time money on the table. LinkedIn is a gold mine, and I'm going to show you exactly how to find where the money is buried on LinkedIn. And also, I'm looking for a volunteer or 2 on the ship. I will be happy to critique your LinkedIn profile as part of this presentation.
So we always look for guinea pigs, everyone.
Yep.
All right, so just to do a quick recap, right now it's a $500 deposit. I only have 6 cabins left. If you are single and you're trying to maybe be with someone else, I'm certainly put it out to my followers, as we all will, to see if there is a soloist out there. And that would be for a single, it's $19.95. For 2 people who are both attending workshops, it will be double that, so that will come up. And if you want to have a cabin all by your lonesome, it's $28.95. Now, if you have your great Aunt Martha or your sister Sue, who happens to work for Royal Caribbean, and you can just get a heck of a deal, you can go ahead and handle all of that yourself, and you can pay $495 just to attend 3 amazing days with us, which would cost a heck of a lot more if you were to buy our time individually. So bottom line, we'd love to have you. Call me at 303-885-2207. You can also go online at publishingatsea.com. And if you want to participate but don't want to pay all at once, we have a provision through PayPal where you can go in and just sign up for their PayPal plan, and you can pay for it over 6 months. And with that, I think it's a wrap. Thank you, everyone.
Judith, this is Joan. Can I slip in 2 questions from people who I think are interested in attending and they have questions
Sure.
about the cruise?
Sure.
Okay, the first one is from Greg, who you said you spoke with. He wants to know what the typical split of cruise attendees is, fiction versus nonfiction.
There is not a typical.
I don't think it makes a difference, Greg, because if
It's irrelevant.
irrelevant.
Yeah.
I actually have those numbers here just because I've been asked that before. On the first cruise 3 years ago, it was 60% fiction, 40% nonfiction, and on last year's cruise it was 70% nonfiction, 30% fiction. So it depends. This year it might be half and half, but we had a little bit heavier on 1 year on fiction, and the next year it was nonfiction. But the information we give really does cover both.
Yeah, and we didn't have any children's authors, for example, on last year's cruise, but I know that we have 3 of them this year. So.
Oh, interesting. Okay, and then Esther asks 2 questions. She says, I wish I could join you all. It's expensive because I have to fly from Los Angeles. Do you also have some singles who want to share cabins?
Well, I have a possibility, Esther. I've got someone coming from Australia who one of my clients contacted me night before last coming out from San Francisco, and I have done a virtual introduction. If that doesn't work, if you will contact me directly so I have your information, I will do that as a backup. I knew I have a single guy possibility who would be interested in sharing with anybody, but I'm always cautious of those things. So Esther, contact me directly so we can have a conversation.
You can also split your internet access. As I was saying, you don't have to be in the same cabin. You can, you can share a couple of things like that to save some budget.
Yeah. Yeah, you can. So Esther, do contact me directly so I can talk to you about what you're looking for and then see if I can put it together for you. All right. Anything else? We've got it. All right. Thank you all for being with us. 25 fabulous tips. I hope you were writing. I put them up there so you can see the websites and things that people were doing and help you out a little bit instead of just not having anything. So thank you, Joan, Amy, Kelly, and Joel. And I look forward to seeing everyone in January.
Thanks, Judith.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Bye.